y'all. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing with y'all and reacting to my curriculum picks from last homeschool year. Let's jump in. First of all, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaela. I'm a second generation homeschool mom to 4 girls. We are transitioning from our 7th year of homeschooling to our 8th year of homeschooling, which is very exciting. I love to chat all things homeschool mama life. So if you are into that type of content, curriculum reviews, flip throughs, updates, all the things, I would love it if you joined our community here by subscribing. Make sure you turn on notifications so you don't miss a thing. You can also always catch me on my Instagram in stories over there. I'm usually sharing more of our day-to-day, what we're up to in our homeschool, sort of the behind the scenes stuff. So if that floats your boat, follow me over there. We'll catch up. Okay, so let's jump right in. I am going to be watching my curriculum picks videos from last year. So these would be the curriculum selections for the 2024-2025 homeschool year. I'm going to be fully transparent. What worked, what didn't, what did we love, what was kind of meh, and what we never got to at all. So I'm going to start with my picks video for 2nd grade. If you've been around my channel, this is not going to be a shocker for you. We are sticking with our tried and true math curriculum. We are sticking with Singapore Dimensions. We have our 2A textbook and workbook, and we have our 2B textbook and workbook. So this will be all of her math for 2nd grade. Yes, we did use Dimensions for 2nd grade. My daughter completed the 2A semester books and the 2B semester books. And for the most part, overall, I still love this math curriculum and it was a success. We are doing something a little bit different this year for math, even though we are using the same program. I am planning on signing my daughter up for the video subscription for 2nd grade. So yes, we did do the video subscription this past year, and it was such a game changer for both of my daughters. The video lessons are pretty short, pretty concise. For the most part, I would say 8 out of 10 times, 80% of the time, the teacher gives really solid explanations that are very helpful for my daughters. For my 2nd grader, she definitely still needed me quite a bit, which I expected. I planned for that. I want to be involved in her math instruction. So I feel like the video subscription for 2nd grade did meet my needs and my expectations, what I was looking for when I signed up for the subscription. Dimensions actually did a really exciting change. They were outsourcing their video platform to Vimeo, and that platform honestly was one of the most annoying things about the video subscription was just trying to navigate Vimeo. It was often frustrating. Both of my daughters wished that there were more user-friendly navigation tools. For example, they wanted to be able to save their place in the video course so that they wouldn't have to scroll and find the particular video that they were on. And Vimeo just didn't offer that user-friendly navigation. So Dimensions has actually brought their video courses in-house. They're going to be hosting their video subscription lessons on their own website. I haven't looked at it yet, but I feel like this is probably going to be their way to solve a lot of those little tedious, annoying factors that I'm sure a lot of people were complaining about. It couldn't have just been us that were bothered with them. So I'm excited to hopefully see some improvement with the video lessons in that way. First of all, a big component for us is all about reading. So my daughter will be starting level 3 of all about reading. We completed level 3 of all about reading. This was not really a shocker. Much like with Dimensions math, Some of these things that we used for my second grader were things that we have been continuing with and were things that I used for my oldest daughter when she was at this grade level. So yes, level 3 was a huge success. We're planning on using level 4 for her third grade year, and I know we're gonna love it. We are going to be trying out the brand new version of All About Spelling. So yes, we did try for the first time, kind of the second time, All About Spelling. And the reason I say first time, kind of second time, is because we were using the brand new edition of All About Spelling. I think it's only been out for maybe a year or two. I had tried the older edition of All About Spelling with my oldest daughter, and it wasn't a big hit for us. So we decided to try out the new edition with my younger daughter. She definitely needs a lot more explicit, scaffolded instruction with spelling. And that is what I was looking for. She had some spelling gaps and just some retention issues that I really wanted to address. And that is why I started her at level 1 of All About Spelling. Even though her reading and phonological ability probably was more at level 2, I really wanted to make sure we filled all those gaps and had a lot of review. So we used the complete level 1, the new edition version. It's all in color. It's beautiful. It has the really fun, colorful paper activities. We really, really enjoyed it. My daughter loved it. Not only did she love it, not only did she enjoy it, but it was exactly what she needed. Her spelling ability from the beginning of second grade to now, it's almost unrecognizable. That's how much growth happened. Her retention, her confidence, attempting to spell unfamiliar words, like everything just got so much easier and better for her where spelling was concerned. And I really feel like a lot of that is owed to All About Spelling and this new colorful, engaging edition. So yeah, it was a huge success for us. For grammar, we are going to be continuing with her with Beowulf's grammar from Guest Hollow. Beowulf's grammar from Guest Hollow. So this is actually one of the things that we're still working on a little bit over the summer. She's almost finished with workbook 2 of Beowulf's grammar. It really has been helpful for both of my kids and just having them remember some of those grammar concepts. She'll probably be wrapping up this workbook in the next couple of weeks, definitely by the end of June. And we will continue with workbook 3 for her third grade year. We've done a variety of things for handwriting books. So this isn't our first time using Zahner Bloser. It's something we really like. She asked to go back with Zahner Bloser. So for handwriting, my second grader was using Zahner Bloser, the cursive format. So level 2 cursive 2C. And I would say overall, it has been a success. This is her first year doing cursive. So she's definitely had some frustrations with it, as we all do when we're learning something new, when we're trying a skill that we have not previously honed. So I'm sure if you asked her, she would probably say like, I didn't really like this workbook that much. I don't want to do cursive anymore. However, from my point of view, my perspective is I really like the Zahner Bloser books. I think they're really well done. I like that they're in color. I like that they bring in copy work. I like that they bring in poetry and other literature samples. I also think that learning cursive, at least to a bare minimum where you can read cursive and you can kind of write in cursive, I feel like it's an important skill to know and to have. And I also think that something like cursive that is a little bit more challenging teaches these other skills like perseverance and resilience that are super critical for kids to know. I would say that this cursive workbook has been a success. She did not complete it. She's still working through it over the summer, and she'll continue with cursive. My thought process is at least through fourth grade or fifth grade. I want to see her reach a level with cursive where she feels comfortable with it and has some mastery before I let her choose to discontinue with formal cursive and formal handwriting practice. My daughter will continue with Type C. We have gotten super into Type C this past school year. It's been something that we've used for a couple of years now, and I do have a review video on it, an older review video. Kind of feel like we did less lessons with Type C in the 2024-2025 school year than we did the previous year. We still really love Type C. It was just one of the things that we weren't getting to all that consistently. Previously, when we've been consistent with Type C, it's something that I have each of my girls do at least once a week. In this past school year, I think that probably fell down to maybe once or twice a month, to be honest, which is still kind of consistent. I mean, we weren't going weeks and weeks on end without using it, but I definitely would prefer for it to be in our weekly rotation and to have some more consistency with typing. So that is something we can improve on in the coming homeschool year. She will also be using Write by Number. We're going to be taking it very slow with Write by Number. She just started stage 2. Okay, Write by Number. Write by Number is something that we are still using in our homeschool, and we had a lot of success with it over the past year. For my second grader in particular, she gained mastery over stage 2, and she is now in stage 3, and we will pick up Write by Number again for her in August or September when we're getting more into the full lineup for third grade. So for literature this year, I'm going to be pulling from a couple of different sources, and I'm also going to be winging some of it. I will admit right away, I'm going to be winging some of it. Also be pulling from Fish Tank Learning. I'm going to be taking a look at their literature units for second grade. We never did any units from Fish Tank Learning over the past year. I think I even prepped a couple and they just kept getting pushed because we had other stuff going on. I'm also going to be looking at Sleeping Bear Press. Sleeping Bear Press offers short little units for picture books. We never did any of the picture book units from Sleeping Bear Press. Some of them look really good. And again, I went through, I picked a few, I downloaded them to a file on my computer, I had them prepped and ready to go, and we just got distracted and busy with other things and never got to it. I really like the resources from Lit House Learning. I have not tried her level 0 novel studies yet. Level 0 studies are probably going to be the best fit for my second grader. We used one Lit House Learning novel study. We did the Wild Robot novel study. It was really special. So I actually pulled from level 0 and level 1 and kind of mixed the activities up for my daughter. So she did sort of the lap book printables. There's lots of little flaps and things. And then she also did some of the writing prompts that are more level 1. It was a great success. We still really like Lit House Learning. I feel like their novel studies are very consistent. And I think if you were doing them back to back nonstop throughout your year as sort of your main literature study, it might get a little monotonous and boring because there is that consistency and repetition throughout the units. But if you're throwing in a couple throughout your homeschool year and you're sort of mixing them with other things, for us, that has worked really, really well. So we did the Wild Robot unit, and we will probably do another unit or maybe 2 or maybe 3 from Lit House for her third grade year. So the reason why we didn't do as many picture book studies as I originally planned, and this is going to be a common thread throughout this video, is that right as our school year was starting, we had this opportunity to review a really special, really unique literature-based unit study from Ticket to Learning. And it was not something I had planned for. It was not something that was in my curriculum picks, but I had to take the opportunity to review that unit study. And I'm so glad I did. It was so much fun, and it was just filled with so much wonderful, rich content. So we had the literature study component. We had a lot of different language arts components that were being covered within that unit study. We had history being covered. We had science and nature study being covered. We even had like music appreciation, cultural appreciation. There were so many different aspects to that unit study that it just completely filled our homeschool schedule for months. Like the whole first half of our homeschool year, we were just really engrossed with that Ticket to Learning unit. And I have shared all about that. I do have videos about that unit. I do highly recommend it if your kids are in the age range that it fits. It is just such a beautifully done and very rich unit study. There's really nothing like it on the market, and I am still hoping that Ticket to Learning will continue to release those. They are very time consuming to create because of all of the content that is packed in. So to make room for that unit study, we did have to push some things aside. And one of the things that got pushed aside was doing more picture book studies with my second grader. And you know what? It was fine. It worked out. We can still revisit some of these. We can still make an effort to maybe squeeze a couple picture book studies into her third grade year. So I'm not stressed that we missed out on this for second grade. So that pretty much covers it for second grade. I really want us to be focusing on her core foundational skills, continuing to improve her reading skills, her spelling skills. I want her to have a better grasp of sentence level writing, sentence structure, and we'll be starting out with some early paragraph level writing, which is very exciting. And then just enjoying lots of sweet stories together. We met those goals. Like, I wanted her to really work on her core foundational skills to continue to grow and progress with math and reading and spelling and all of those things. And we did. She has made excellent progress in all of those areas. And of course, as a home educator, as a parent teacher, we have the front row seat to be able to see all of that happening up close and personal, to see the hard work, to see the frustration, to see the resilience and the persistence and the progress. There's nothing like it. It's very special. It's very gratifying. So reviewing this has just made me remember what an amazing second grade year we had, and I'm really happy. Okay, so let's look at my picks for fifth grade, for my fifth grader, who's now almost a sixth grader. Singapore Dimensions Math. So I have her first semester, her 5A books, and I have her second semester 5B books ready to go. So they offer a video subscription. You can get any grade level for 1 full year from your purchase date. So for fifth grade math, this was a huge success. So for my second grader, remember, the video lessons for Singapore Dimensions Math were a helper to me. They saved me some instruction time. For my fifth grader, they surpassed my expectations, because my expectations were, this is going to save me some instruction time, but I'm still going to need to jump in and offer more instruction. I don't want to say that this is the curriculum or that this is the video lessons, because the video lesson quality and the curriculum quality doesn't change from the second grade level to the fifth grade level. Like, it's the same curriculum. It's the same instructor in the videos doing things the same way. Like, the material advances, but everything else, the methods, the teaching, it's all the same. However, my fifth grader is my mathy kid. She's just always been the kid where math concepts come very easily to her. And even when I was doing all the instruction with dimensions with her, it wasn't a lot of work for me. Like, I'm just being honest, it wasn't. It's her. It's just the way her brain works. And it's just one of her unique skill sets that she has. So with fifth grade, the video lessons pretty much meant that I did not have to be a meat equation at all for her, for my oldest, which I was not expecting. And it was kind of amazing, but also weird. My goal for her fifth grade year was for her to be more independent. And I felt like with math, she was almost fully independent, which I was not expecting, but it was pretty nice. So she would watch the videos, she would do her assignments, and then she would just turn in her assignments by leaving them open on my desk when she was finished so that I could review and grade her work. I think there were only 2 concepts from the entire year. I believe they were both in 5B, where she called me over and was like, hey, am I getting this right? Like, can you just make sure I'm understanding this right and maybe explain it to me a little bit differently? And I took, I don't know, all of 20 minutes to help her out with those and just review the information with her. And then it clicked and she was fine. And she was like, okay, I don't need you anymore. I got this. So I would say Dimensions, fifth grade, video lessons, massive success, even beyond my expectations. We shall see what happens for math with our sixth grade year. That will be for another video, but fifth grade math was great. She will continue on using Type C. So just like my second grader, my oldest did continue to use Type C for typing lessons. And just like with my second grader, Type C lessons weren't as consistent as I would like them to be. So there's room for improvement there. But overall, Type C is still a win for us. We still really like it. It's working great. We plan on using Hearth and Story for basically everything language arts is going to be Hearth and Story for my fifth grader. I feel like I've already shared this so much on this channel and on my Instagram, but y'all, we love Hearth and Story. Love it. We're going to be using grade 6 with my oldest in the upcoming year. I already plan on using grade 4 for my second daughter when she gets to grade 4. She's about to start third, so we have some time before we get to use that level. My oldest was able to do it almost completely independently. I don't know if that will be the case for every kid, but if your kid has really solid reading comprehension skills, they might be able to do Hearth and Story independently because the lessons are written to the student in such a clear and easy to understand way. And it wasn't a massive time suck on our schedule. It took very little time. So she finished the spelling component, the brain food component, the poetry component, the grammar component. All of those are either already finished or she's in the process of wrapping up like the last couple lessons over the summer. The 2 components that she did not have time to finish and probably still won't have finished by the end of summer are the writing and the literature studies. That's okay. I'm just going to have her start back up with the writing and the literature for her 6th grade year. So she'll have some of the 5th grade level carry into 6th grade. And then when she's done with that, she'll just start with the 6th grade. And if it carries over into the following year, that's okay too, because Hearth and Story's 7th and 8th grade is a combo in 1 year. So that gives us a little bit of leeway over these middle grade years where we can kind of have a little bit more flexibility and carry stuff into the next year as needed, which of course we're homeschoolers. We can do that regardless, but it does put my mind at ease that that flexibility is built into this program with the way that 7 and 8 are combined. She only did 1 of the novel studies and she did not do any of the short story studies, but I can tell that we're going to enjoy those because they are all formatted in a very similar way. The spelling lessons we loved. those are going to be swapped out in the 6th grade level for vocabulary study. So that's actually really exciting that she's done with formal spelling lessons and we get to move into more vocabulary study, which we've already had a little bit with other curricula, but it'll definitely be fun to try it out the Hearth and Story way. The grammar lessons we really liked. I have heard one little critique of Hearth and Story, specifically with the grammar, is that there isn't a whole lot of repetition and review built in. It might not be enough repetition and review in grammar for a lot of kids. My 2 cents, I have a couple of thoughts. First, grammar taught in isolation is probably the least effective way to teach grammar. Our kids need to be practicing grammar and learning grammar and identifying grammar concepts in their reading, in their writing assignments, in other areas, right? So for me, the grammar lessons with Hearth and Story are just one small part of our overall way of familiarizing ourselves with grammar concepts, practicing grammar concepts, learning. So I'm okay with the lessons being short and concise and maybe not a whole lot of repetition, because grammar overall, over your entire education, you're going to get a ton of repetition with the same concepts over and over and over again. So I'm okay with it. Additionally, my 5th grader was also using Beowulf's grammar, and we're also covering grammar with Write by Number and with other writing assignments, and we covered some grammar concepts with our Ticket to Learning unit study. So we just have a lot of things that are addressing these concepts. If you're planning on using Hearth and Story as your end-all be-all language arts and you're not having anything else to blend with it or to supplement it, then yeah, it's going to depend on you and your kid to see if the grammar component or if all of the components are meeting your needs and your standards, giving you enough review, giving you enough practice. So definitely just something to keep in mind that I thought I would address really quickly. But overall, for us, Hearth and Story was fantastic. We are actually planning on continuing with Write by Number as well. So Write by Number is going to be our long game. I guess you could call it a supplement because she does have Hearth and Story. I have so many videos where I'm talking about Write by Number, so I won't bore you with repeating the same things over and over, but we love Write by Number. We're going to keep using Write by Number. It was a success. She will continue on using Type C. So just like my 2nd grader, my oldest did continue to use Type C for typing lessons. And just like with my 2nd grader, Type C lessons weren't as consistent as I would like them to be. So there's room for improvement there. But overall, Type C is still a win for us. We still really like it. It's working great. Human hormones and reproduction. Okay, so this was a core knowledge unit from their 5th grade science. So CK Sci grade 5. This is a unit that's talking about puberty and development. We actually never touched this. We kind of swapped it for something else. So I had the opportunity to review the Body Talk Basics course, which I made a video on. That is a course specifically for mothers and daughters. So we did that together instead, and we really loved it. I have a video talking about that. But we did not do this core knowledge science unit yet. It might still be something worth looking at. I would need to see how much of it we've already covered, but this science unit is for boys and girls, which I think is important. Whereas the Body Talk Basics course is solely for girls. So it might be worth revisiting this and just making sure that we've covered all of our bases. We are an all-girl family. We have 4 girls, but I still want my daughters to know about male puberty and male development. So it might be worth looking at this course and going over it with her in her 6th grade year. The last focus area that we have for 5th grade is computer science and computer skills. So there's a couple of different resources. Core Knowledge Science actually has a computer unit for, I think, pretty much every grade level, but the ones that I'm looking at specifically would be the 3rd grade, the 4th grade, and the 5th grade. We didn't touch these. We did not do them. I had them prepped. I had them ready to go, and we got sidetracked. Like I said earlier, that Ticket to Learning unit study took up a big chunk of our homeschool year. This was one of the things that got pushed to the wayside. I still really want to use these computer science units. They look like they would be really fun and not very time consuming. It might be something that I do as a group unit with both of my girls, especially if we're pulling from multiple levels. That could be fun. I could see that working. So yeah, it's just gonna, be on my list of things to try to squeeze in for the next school year. Okay, let's look at the group subject curriculum picks. We're going to be moving into level D. I've selected a level that I feel like will meet the needs of both of my daughters for science. So this was something we did not do a whole lot of. I think altogether we probably did 3 or 4 weeks worth of Bookshark Science Level D. Not because it was a flop, not because I didn't want to do it, but because of that Ticket to Learning unit study, which had so much science and nature study jam-packed in there. So we still covered a lot of science. It just wasn't with Bookshark. Totally fine, because I didn't have to buy a science curriculum for the upcoming school year. We're going to just jump right back in with Bookshark Science Level D. I might need to beef it up just a little bit for my oldest daughter, but I think overall it'll still be a good fit for us. Since we're talking about science, and since I did not address in these curriculum picks videos the science that we would have actually been doing, because I didn't know we were going to do the Ticket to Learning unit, let's talk about some of the science that we actually did cover. So the Ticket to Learning unit study is all centered around this really beautiful novel called Light Comes to Shadow Mountain. And it is historical fiction set during the Great Depression in Appalachia. It's all centered around this 11-year-old girl who desperately wants electricity to come to her very small rural Appalachian community. So some of the science that is tied into this unit study is science with electricity. And my girls were able to make their own little circuits, which was so much fun. We did this whole video course that's included in the unit that taught them where the electricity that we use in our home comes from and how that infrastructure is actually set up and what's happening, inside a light switch when you're switching it on and off. They learned a lot of really great stuff. Also included in the unit are some extra supplemental books that are about electricity, about light. And honestly, we barely touched these books. Like, we just got very surface level with these books. We could have dived even deeper. There could have been even more science if we had wanted to go deeper with it. And they're on my shelf. We can revisit them. We can come back to them anytime we want. They're just now part of our homeschool library, which is great. We also covered some anatomy. We got to learn a lot about the lymphatic system of our bodies and all of the different pieces to that throughout your body, head to toe. We also learned about some really cool scientific innovation like incubators that save babies every single day. And then, of course, since the story was set in rural Appalachia, there was a lot of nature study involved too, specifically herbalism. So we learned about some of these amazing plants and their medicinal purposes. And we also got to plant our own chamomile plants, which was really fun. I'm sure that there is more that I am already forgetting, but let me assure you, We covered a lot of science this past year, and we had so much fun with it. Okay, moving on to social studies, more specifically world history and geography. For the first few weeks of the year, we are going to be catching up and finishing what we did not finish from last year. So my plan was that we were going to finish History Quest Middle Times in the first 10 or 12 weeks of the school year, because that was how much we had left over from the previous year. So from the 2023-2024 school year, we had spent most of that year in the Middle Ages with History Quest, didn't quite get it wrapped up, and so I wanted to carry that over into 24-25. This was kind of a hit and a miss because we did not do it in the beginning of the school year. In the beginning of the school year, we got completely engrossed with our Ticket to Learning unit study, and we were covering so much history around the Great Depression, around the start of electricity spreading across the United States into these rural communities. We were learning about what rural life was like in the United States before electricity was widely available. Lots of wonderful historical discussions and historical reads. We did also cover some figures in history, such as Amelia Earhart and Nellie Bly. Again, the Ticket to Learning unit is very, very rich, y'all. But with this History Quest Middle Times unit, we did not get to it until the very end of our school year. And we did, in fact, completely wrap this up and finish it. So in those last few weeks of our school year, we covered the Ottoman Empire, we covered Russia, we covered the Italian European Renaissance. We learned about Leonardo da Vinci. We learned about Michelangelo. We learned about Galileo. We had so much fun. History Quest is still one of my top favorite curriculums, and we really enjoyed wrapping up Middle Times. I'm also really excited that we were able to get that introduction with the Renaissance and Queen Elizabeth and all of that. We even covered Shakespeare just a little bit. History Quest covers Shakespeare at a very introductory surface level, which was perfect because over the summer, we are going to be doing a Shakespeare unit. So now we have that background knowledge that we can bring into this unit, and I think it's just going to go really, really well because those foundations have been laid with History Quest. We're going to switch things up and do some culture studies and world geography for the remainder of our homeschool year. The main resource that we're going to be using for that is Geography Junior by Guest Hollow. This will be my first time using this resource. I'm very excited to try it out. So we did not touch Geography Junior this whole past year. It was one of the things that got pushed aside for that Ticket to Learning unit study, so we did not get to this at all. But that's totally fine. I'm still counting it as a win or a preemptive win because we're going to be using this resource in the next school year. For 6th grade and 3rd grade, my main family group subject is that we're going to be doing world geography. We're going to be using a few different resources. This is one of them. I already told y'all all the details in my curriculum picks videos for 25-26. So you probably already know. If you don't, you can watch those videos. But this will still get used, I think. It will be fine. Or if it doesn't, then, I'll tell you guys later. To sort of go hand in hand with our world geography year and our culture studies, and also our medieval history that we're wrapping up at the beginning of the year, I have selected a few resources for art. They have one for early Renaissance and high Renaissance. I think that we're probably going to try to do both of those. Okay, so these are the art study units from Layers of Learning. And I'm going to make a whole separate video on layers of learning, but I have shared a little bit of it with you guys. So these units are from the art study component of the layers of learning curriculum, and these are based in their middle ages year, and they have different cultures represented, different important art history moments represented in these units, which I really love. That's very appealing to me. We have not used these yet. All that to say, we haven't touched these yet. And I do say yet because I am going to be tying in the High Renaissance unit with our Shakespeare study. They tie in together really, really well. And the High Renaissance unit, I think 2/3 of it is about Shakespeare, or at least the activity pages. So it's got a lot of stuff that will blend really nicely with the other things we're using for our Shakespeare unit. That's going to be a separate video. So yeah, at least one of the units we will touch, technically still in this school year, if you want to count our summer learning as part of the preceding year. The rest of these we definitely won't have time for before we start our new school year. However, layers of learning is going to be part of our new school year. We're going to be using one of their geography courses. And after using one of the art units and after digging in with the geography, if we are like really digging layers of learning, I have a feeling that we will be bringing in more and more from them. They do have history, they do have science, they even have writing that might be like a fun supplement, extra thing to bring in for our writing instruction. So yeah, there's a lot about layers of learning that's very appealing to me, and I am excited to try it out finally. I didn't try it out in the order that I intended to or the time frame that I intended to, but it's still going to happen. What I have chosen for Spanish this year is homeschool languages. Okay, Spanish. Homeschool languages. Have we tried it? Yes. Do we love it? Yes. Did we stay consistent with it? No. Did we finish it? Not by a long shot. Hopefully we get more consistent. Hopefully we can build up some momentum with it and actually wrap this whole level in the upcoming school year. But I really, really like homeschool languages. If you guys want me to make a whole separate video on homeschool languages, I'm more than happy to do that. It hasn't really been on my priority list because I've seen a few other creators in this space make some really great videos that show everything homeschool languages. But I'm also happy to do that for y'all if you would like to see it and just have my take on it. Let me know down in the comments. This Spanish curriculum is fun, it's engaging, it's easy to use. My one little critique, and it's not a critique of the curriculum, it's a critique of myself, is that I wish I would have splurged, invested the extra money, and bought the actual kit where they send you everything printed and cut and laminated and ready to go. I opted to get the PDF version and to print everything and prep everything myself. And this particular curriculum involves lots of games and cards and little books. And that just meant it was extremely tedious for me to prep it myself. Lots of cutting, lots of stapling, lots of sorting little tiny pieces of paper. And if I had to do it all over, I would have just invested the money and had them send it to me already prepped. I'm sure that their paper quality and everything is worth that extra expense. So when it comes time to purchase level 2, if we continue with this, like I suspect that we will, I will definitely order the kit and just get it all prepped and sent to me so I don't have the headache of having to prep everything myself. All right, y'all, I think we did it. I think we got through all of those curriculum picks. All in all, I think we did pretty good. I think we had a really solid homeschool year. We had things come up unexpectedly. We had some things we had to delay or just push to the wayside altogether, at least for now. But overall, we got to almost everything that I intended for us to use. And with our like foundational skill curricula, like the reading and the math and the writing and the grammar, we were very consistent. We stayed on track. We completed most of it. We're still in the process of completing a couple of things. So those will be more boxes that will get checked in the next coming weeks. I think we deserve a pat on the back. I'm not going to lie. It was a great homeschool year. I hope you guys had a really great homeschool year too. And please remember, finishing the curriculum completely, implementing every single thing you bought and planned for is not necessarily the definition of a really good homeschool year. It's a plus, it's a perk. I definitely think it's an attainable goal that we should be striving for, but I also know from experience that it's just not always possible and feasible. There are some years and there are some seasons of life that throw you curveballs, and we have to be flexible. We have to prioritize our mental health, our physical health. So don't stress, don't put extra pressure on yourself if you're still feeling like you're really behind, you didn't get to everything this past year. Take a deep breath. It's okay. You will have years like that. You will also have years where you do get to everything and you finish faster than you thought and you have more success than you expected. All of that is just part of the journey. Progress over perfection. Always. I have to tell myself about 40 times a day. Someday it will just be my natural inclination, but yes, progress over perfection. I really hope y'all enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed looking back and having a nice recap of our homeschool year. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below. Please share your highs, share your lows, share the most memorable moments of your homeschool year, and let's be supportive of each other in this space. I will see y'all in the next one. Bye for now and happy homeschooling.